I'll try and keep this short, which means it's probably not going to be, so buckle up. Right, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's lovely to see, but I have seen more content that is like specifically aimed at men's mental health. I've not seen loads, but I have seen more, so it's nice to see, and I've seen quite a bit of it being shared by women as well, which is really nice to see. However, as good as it is, it's also brought to my attention the gaping holes in the understanding of men's mental health and the real reason why men struggle in the way that they do. Why men make up so much more of the statistics for suicide and things like that. And everything that I've seen, content that's been shared, has all been centered around saying things like, men cry too, men get sad too, it's okay to not be okay, men need to share their emotions more, men need to talk more, men need to reach out, men need to do this. But everything has all been steeped in emotion. It's all been centered around sadness or crying or loneliness or, don't mind me, Obi, can I help you with something? Yeah. Needy boy, ain't ya? Get down. Good boy. But what about the anger that men feel? What about the intense anger that men can feel? What about the frustrations that we experience? What about the sexual issues that we experience, the sexual frustrations and urges? And when I say sexual urges, I'm not talking about the people that exist on the furthest end of that spectrum. That is a very, very small percentage of men that make it up. I'm talking about normal men that experience sexual urges on a different scale, but to the point where it can become debilitating, it can become completely distracting, consumes your day, prevents productivity. Where do men go? Who do men talk to about that shit? They have nowhere. Because nobody wants to talk about that. Because anytime men's sexual desires gets mentioned, bang, rape gets immediately thrown into the conversation. That's the only scale that men can experience sexual urges on. It's either completely normal, rapist. That's it. And the fact of the matter is that rape is a tiny portion of men, 0.17%. But it gets pushed so heavily that men are made to feel that if you have sexual urges and sexual desires, that's it. Oh, you fucking rapist, mate. It's not the way it is. But this is why the Male Support Network now exists. I am creating a place where men can come, where they can talk about the anger that they feel at the world in general, every day, because they feel completely fucking inadequate, because you feel that you've got no value and you don't know what to do to change it. You don't know who to turn to, you don't know who to ask for help, you don't know who to talk about. The fact that maybe it's suicide ideation. You're at the point where you feel so inadequate and you felt it for such a long period of time, and you've been so frustrated and so angry and so pissed off with life for such an extended period of time that you either want to hurt someone over the littlest things, because you feel that such an overwhelming lack of control over your life that in any situation where you can experience a little bit of power like that, you want to take hold of it. Physical anger feels like the easiest way to experience power and control in some way. But it doesn't have to be like that. That's why the Male Support Network exists, because it's somewhere for men to go so that we can all get together and you can share shit like that on the calls. Ask me about it and I will share with you the information that you need to be able to start addressing the problems and start gaining control over yourself, because people don't understand overall in society what it feels like for a man to feel that you've got no value and you don't have control over yourself, over your anger, over your sadness, over your frustrations, over your sexual desires. Men never feel as worthless as when they are in that situation. Societal expectation that men are still to be the provider and the protector. Not only for a family, but to be the guardians, the unspoken guardians, for everybody else as well. If I was in a situation where something kicked off, I would be expected, as a larger than average male, to be the one that steps up and takes on that situation, fixes that situation, protects everybody else that's there. People that have got absolutely fucking nothing to do with me. People that I don't know. But I'm expected to put myself in harm's way as a man to protect them purely because I'm a man with muscle. That imposition will be put on me like that, should a situation arise where somebody was kicking off. That isn't fucking fair. It is the way it is. And if I personally was in that kind of situation, I would step up anyway. But it isn't right that I'm expected to just because I'm a man. But that right there is an example. I have that value, that I can do that, I can be that person. What about men that don't? What about men that have no physical stature, that have no physical prowess, that are not strong, that are not powerful physically? They do not have now, nor have they ever possessed any kind of athleticism or strength or dominance. They don't have the intellect to accrue knowledge so that they can then become valuable in that respect. They've never amassed any kind of wealth because they've never had the intellect, the physical prowess, or anything else that's needed to put themselves in a position of getting a job that can create a lot of money. They can't do physical labour jobs because that requires strength, it requires power. We just discussed they don't have that. So what do? They're not attractive, so they don't have that going for them. So you get men that go their entire life, they're born, they grow, they live and they die, having never had any value because they're not attractive, they're not intelligent, they're not physically dominant or powerful. They don't have wealth. So what do? They do nothing. They're in the category of the 50% of men that get no attention from women at any point. That's why the category of 40 to 55 is so prevalent with suicide in men. Because they get to that age range, they get to middle age where the friends that they've been around while they've been growing up, that have all got partners, that have got wives, that have got children, their life is now happening for them. Their life and their future is now being laid out before them as the children grow and the children have relationships and then the children have children. Now all of a sudden they're a grandparent. They've got that family unit. They've got that future that is being paved for them. Meanwhile, they've got nothing. They still don't have the wealth. They still don't have the ability to protect or to provide. They don't have anybody to protect or to provide. That's why suicide is so high in that age range. Albeit get down. But nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the fact that men are being told left, right and fucking centre, be more emotional, share your emotions more. Yet when men are more emotional, that's a bad thing. He's too kind. He's too nice. I know too many men that have been broken up with because they were too nice. Be too nice, be the good guy, the nice guy too much, and you are going to get taken advantage of left, right and fucking centre. You will get walked all over. You will get walked all over. But be a man that shows too little emotion, and that's a bad thing. You will get dragged for that as well. You will get dragged for being emotionless. You will get dragged for being cold. So where's the line? What's the right amount of emotion? There's no such fucking thing. That's why I don't spend all my time harping on about fucking emotion for men. Men don't need more emotion. You need emotional regulation and you need to be able to control your thoughts. But those two things are completely different and they have got fucking nothing to do with crying about something or being sad and sharing that sadness with someone. If somebody is sad, then they can share that with men in the male support network. But it isn't going to be met with, oh mate, are you okay? Let me stroke your face with a feather and tell you that everything's going to be okay. It's going to be solution orientated. It's going to be like, right, dude, you've got that problem. This is how you fucking fix it. This is how we're going to implement it. These are the steps that I want you to take. These are the things that are going to fix the problems that you've got. Do them every fucking day. You don't need to go and cry to somebody about it that's just going to try to pacify you and make you feel like it's okay. And tell you that you've done a good thing by sharing. Because yeah, sharing your problems with someone is a good thing if it's being met with someone that wants you to fix them. If it's being met with someone that isn't going to enable your behaviour, that isn't going to put you in a position, mentally or emotionally, that's going to cause you to continue to live the same lifestyle. Because you just talk about it every now and again and that pacifies you. It pacifies the need to change. It pacifies the urges and the desires that you've got to be more powerful, to be a better version of yourself. To have more value, to have wealth, to have power, to have something that makes you feel not completely fucking inadequate. Men are subject to scrutiny in every area of life. And it's difficult for a lot of guys to deal with. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And why I am going to push it and push it and push it and push it and push it until it becomes massive and it starts making a fucking real change. Because there's too many men out there that don't know where to turn. You're telling them to share their emotions, but the things that they feel the heaviest about, they feel like they can't share them with anyone because every other fucking minute that they go on social media, men are having their normal daily urges and the inherent nature of men thrown in their face and told that that is a bad thing. If you feel this, it makes you a bad person. If you have sexual desires, you're basically a rapist. If you feel anger, you're weak, you're pathetic, you're insecure, you don't have control over yourself, you're not a real man. I'm not being funny, but if somebody isn't a man, they cannot tell you what is or is not a real man. Because they have fucking no idea what it feels like to be one, to be subject to the scrutiny. Societal scrutiny, the personal scrutiny that you put yourself under from family, from friends. So for anybody that this has kind of really hit and reached out to, it's resonated with, if I've said something that you've experienced or that you're feeling right now, get yourself into the Male Support Network. It's cheap as fuck, and it's going to be one of the fucking best communities that any man can be in. There's a lot of shit that people deal with that is 100% fixable, and you do not need to try and deal with it on your own.